Hey guys, Raiden here, and welcome to my monthly Patreon Q&A video. So for those of you who don't know, I do have a Patreon, and patrons every month at the end of the month, or, well, they can ask any time during the month, but at the end of the month, I'm gonna do a Q&A video with their questions, because I really can't offer a lot on Patreon. I'm so busy doing just all the LP stuff that takes a lot longer than you guys would think. It takes a lot of work, that it would be impossible to put out anything substantial. But if you guys have any ideas for Patreon reward type videos or things like that, you can leave it in the comment section. But for now, I thought these Q&As would be a good idea. And thank all of my Patreons or patrons. Is that what they call them? Patrons? Just thank you guys for even donating anything. I didn't think I'd get anything, maybe like $1? But it's been a lot better than that, so thank you a lot. It means a ton to me. Anyways, if somehow you didn't get my millions of posts on Patreon and Twitter and YouTube about, hey, you guys can ask questions, and you didn't ask a question this time, I'll try to get to you next time, because not every patron I have asked anything. Only about 3 of them did, so I'll have to work with what's here, and I'm sorry if I didn't get to you due to any sort of misinformation. I'm gonna try to answer these questions as in a lengthy manner as possible, so you feel like this was worth it. I mean, I hope you felt that it was worth it, or I don't know. I'm being really weird about this, I'm sorry. Anyways, Eternal Composer, I'm asking these in order asked by you guys. Eternal Composer actually asked 3 questions. I allowed people to ask multiple questions this time around. Eternal Composer says, what would you consider playing next? Dual Destinies, Trials and Tribulations? I thought there was gonna be more to that question. No, it's just those 2. That's a really hard question, honestly. A lot of people, first of all, think that since I haven't played an Ace Attorney game, or I haven't talked about Ace Attorney in like 6 months, or I was talking about like, oh, I really like that Danganronpa does this, I wish Ace Attorney did this, that I was just like dumping the Ace Attorney series forever. No, I still love Ace Attorney. I do like it a lot. But I'm not going to play 2 visual novels right next to each other. I feel like that would become kind of redundant as a series, so I kind of just put it on the side for now as far as Ace Attorney goes. But the next game I would play, that's a very difficult question. Because here's the thing, I only played halfway through Trials and Tribulations. I think I was like halfway through the second case, or maybe I finished it. And the issue with that is the fact that I would be playing half the LP knowing what happens, and I remember the first case pretty damn well. The second one I don't really remember, and I'm not sure if people would be interested in that, because Trials and Tribulations is one of the most, like, overplayed games on YouTube, and I bet people have seen it 1 billion times, so I don't know if people would be interested, or if I should just catch up on my own. There's also a Edgeworth Investigations 2, which I've heard has the best writing in the series, but I need to download a translation patch to even play that in the first place, so that's a different thing. It shouldn't be too hard, though, and I'm very excited for that. And then there's Dual Destinies, which I know nothing about, and I want to see how Ace Attorney manages to transfer itself into the 3rd dimension, I guess I should say. I really don't know what I'd play next. It's really up to you guys in that regard. I'd like to hear your opinions on, like, hey, what's worth it? Do you want to see Trials and Tribulations, even though it's been done like 1 billion times? You want to see Edgeworth Investigations 2, because not a whole lot of people have played it? Or you want to see Dual Destinies, because, I don't know. I've heard Dual Destinies is pretty mediocre, but that wouldn't keep me from playing it. But yeah, it's really up to you guys in that regard. The second question Eternal Composer asks is, would you make another Hunger Games simulator except everyone in it is from the Discord server? If your project was done, which is top secret, if your top secret project is done, then yeah, I think if I already did what I needed to do, this is really hard to explain, but if your project was done in the future, and it was relevant here, then yeah, I would do it, but like, I think doing it for like 30 people for 3,400 people, yeah, we have 3,400 subscribers right now, I checked, would be a little weird, because it would feel a lot like irrelevant content to a lot of people on the channel, and doing a private one for just the Discord, like a private video, maybe? I don't know, but that's a really weird concept. People really like the Hunger Games simulator thing. I've never understood why. I felt it got really repetitive, and it's not like it's not fun, but I guess people just really like the characters that are put in it, and not the situations, because the situations become once again, really repetitive and start to repeat themselves really quickly. I think we've gone through pretty much every possible situation that can happen in that simulator. So I personally don't see the appeal, but if people like them, yeah, I'll make one every once in a while. Sure, why not? Yeah, for just the Discord people, I don't think that would be interesting. Last question he asks, and this is, I'm gonna try not to talk too long about this. Have you played Xenoblade 2 yet? I actually talked about this in the stream announcement video the other day, and on stream too. I have. I own it, and I played, like, I want to say 15 to 25 hours. I don't know if I'm going to continue, right now at least. But in that short time I played, I want to say good things and bad things about the game. First of all, I have a bias here being a huge fan of Xenogears, probably one of my favorite games of all time. If you don't know, that's the first Xeno game in the series, all the way back on the PlayStation 1. It was so unique. And that brings me through a lot of biases towards Xenoblade, because it's trying to live, or it's not really trying to live up to the legacy, it's trying to be its own thing, but the fact that it feels like it's forgetting the game it came from is annoying. But, in short, I think Xenoblade is a pretty good game. It's a lot of fun to play. The combat system is a lot better than Chronicles 1, which I think was more the problem there than here, because with the original Xenoblade Chronicles, I just got so bored of the combat. It repeats itself so much without any variation. I know you could say that about a lot of RPGs, but I don't know, that one just didn't click with me at all. But with Xenoblade 2, I really like walking around and fighting things, which is weird because that's normally not the part I like so much. I really like exploring the huge, colossal Titan world that's kind of in there, and I think the setting is so interesting. And the monsters you can fight in there are fun to fight. I think a lot of it has to do with the hit stop they added to when the character attacks. So every time you hit, there's like this stop, and it feels like you have actual impact. As for the Monado, it felt like I was doing no damage ever. But, yeah, I'd say the high points are the arts, for the most part, except for a thing I'll get to in a second, or the art of the world and the gameplay. The soundtrack's also pretty good. It's nothing substantial if you ask me, or I mean it is substantial, but nothing excellent. No Nier Automata or Gestalt here. I think the part I really don't like about it is how the game feels to lack a sense of maturity, which is what I want most. And I'm not saying, like, it's not mature in any way, it's fun, but, like, something about playing a 14 to 16-year-old kid named Rex, who is screaming about the power of friendship, and I've heard a billion people be like, oh, but it's just a joke, it's probably just an homage to all those generic lines where people scream about friendship, and yeah, I don't care if it's an homage when he screams it, like, every 20 damn seconds. But when I'm just playing as them, I don't know. First of all, Rex and Pyrrha's designs are just, ugh. Pyrrha, because it just seems like the most pandery thing in the world. Literally, like, you meet her and I think within 20 minutes you're already using her as a lap pillow. And, Rex, just because it looks really weird, especially when he's not diving. I think it looks better when he is diving. But when he's not diving, he, like, takes off his pants and it looks really, really weird. Like, I heard someone before say he has, like, assless chaps almost. And that's really weird. But, I just don't like the two main characters at all. They just don't resonate with me. Everyone around them is freaking awesome. I can't remember her name, but there's a female character. I'm gonna look her up. Yeah, that's her name. Her name was Morag. There is a girl in Xenoblade 2 called Morag. And her design is kick-ass. I absolutely loved it. The military outfit with the dual rapiers, and like, when you get to that point in the game, you realize you're practically having stand battles. It's a little ridiculous, but I absolutely love it. And even the villain designs are so good. And I just don't know what happened to the main two characters. Pyrrha looks like she's out of, like, Fate FGO, which is a game I personally play, but it's a different story. In Rex, I thought he was, like, the main character or a created character from Monster Hunter Stories. That's how generic he looked to me, so, that's one thing. And then, as I said before, just the general maturity of the story seems so low in comparison to Xenogears, because that's the one thing I have to compare that meant a lot to me. Like, in the original Xenogears, you had a main character who's dealing with the fact that he destroyed his hometown and killed everyone in it subconsciously. a female lead who is dealing with constant drug use so she can continue being an efficient soldier and so she can forget about all the people she's constantly killing, and she's constantly putting herself under whatever hallucinogenic drug just so she can continue being in her own part of the military. You have a priest as a side character who's dealing with religious extremism and watching like his entire world crumble around him in some of the saddest ways. It's going from that to these little teenagers deal with the most generic like fantasy problems I've ever seen. Like, it's literally Final Fantasy plot of like, this girl's important, don't let them touch her, don't let them do the bad thing. But all in all, I think it's a pretty fun game. Not what I wanted. I know the game that everyone hated, which was, what was it? It was called, Xenoblade X? Is that what it was called? Something, but it's the one with the skells, the sick mechs. I actually enjoyed that a lot more. Just because I like getting back in the robots, just like Xenogears. Yeah, I played it. I think it's pretty good, but just not for me. John Wisder? Is that your name? John Wisder. I'm gonna take your name as that. Says, what is your favorite game series? That is a very, very difficult question. And, I have a lot of things I could say is my favorite series. If you probably asked me a year ago, I probably would have told you Kingdom Hearts. Or probably 2 years ago, because I would have sworn by you for so many years that Kingdom Hearts 2 was the best game on Earth forever. But when I started looking at the plot from the outside and realizing I've never watched a Disney movie in my life, I kind of drifted away. Especially with how long it's been from Kingdom Hearts 2 to Kingdom Hearts 3. Birth by Sleep was pretty rad, though. I played that recently. But I wouldn't say it's my favorite series, because favorite series implies that it has a substantial level of quality all the way through, and I enjoy it all the way through, which Kingdom Hearts does not have. It does not have that. I would also like to say Final Fantasy, but there are plenty of Final Fantasy games I don't like, so that's off the list. Fire Emblem definitely, it's on there as one of my favorites because there's a lot of fun things to play, but boy are there a lot of boring ones too, and badly designed ones. If there was a series I would have to say constantly hit my level of, or constantly made me enjoy it and never feel like I wanted to put it down, it would probably be the Shin Megami Tensei series. That is a series that I've been playing since I started Persona 3, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. This is how you take a RPG into modern day, and eventually that went over to Persona 4, and then I went, huh, I wonder what the Shin Megami Tensei means in this title. And I played SMT4, and I've been hooked on every single game in the series since. I haven't played Devil Summoner yet, or not Devil Summoner. Devil Summoner is one of my favorites. Devil Survivor for the DS. And I have not played, Devil Hackers, I think it's called? Something Hackers. I can't remember the name of the game. But aside from that, I've played quite a few of them, and every single one I've played is the most enjoyable experience. I love when things are super weird like that. The settings to SMT games are so bizarre, and you'll never see them in anything else, just these dilapidated cities ruined with demons everywhere and people just trying to live their lives normally and talking to demons as if they're people. It's like a more fun Pokemon to me almost, and it's the reason why I never play Pokemon, because it's like this, how do I say it? In short, it feels better to me. I like it a lot more. And then even when it goes to a not so bizarre setting like the Persona games, that series still completely performs above expectations. It performs so well as an RPG that the moment I finished Persona 3 and I heard Persona 4 was out, I was practically yelling because I was so excited to play a game I didn't even know existed and just go through another adventure. And every time it's adapted to a different gameplay style, it works so well. I've heard Devil Survivor, which I've been thinking about playing on the channel, but I don't know. I don't know. It's like a TRPG, or tactical RPG, I want to say, or SRPG, I guess I should say, because T stands for tabletop. But it is an SRPG version of the normal SMT gameplay, and it looks really cool. But even when it's adapted to something actiony like Raiden Kuzunoha, or a regular turn-based RPG system like the mainline games or Persona, that game just, I don't know, the series just is always fun to me, and I can't explain why. The last question we have, and I know it's last already, is from Mexican Zoidberg. I've actually remembered you. You were one of the first people to show up. I think you were the first person ever to show up on any of my streams, so congrats, I remember you. I think that was during Shadow Dragon, too. And you said, "Hey Xeno, I am curious about your religious beliefs, if any at all. If it's too personal, then feel free to ignore the question. Regardless, peace out and have a great day." I didn't read these questions beforehand, so that's a surprising one to me. No, I have no qualm, revealing my religious nature. My deep cultish nature. No, I don't have any. And by that I mean I straight up just, I don't know what I'd call myself, because it's such a weird stance. I guess at, like, baseline you'd be atheist or theist or whatever you want to call it. But, I'm not particularly religious, not because I believe that, like, any of it's bad or, like, spiritual beliefs are bad in any way. It's just, there are two things that just keep me away. So there's so many possibilities and so many options. And a lot of these options imply grave things if you pick the wrong one. So it's really interesting in that way. So, I just wouldn't choose. Another thing is, I just don't like having a moral code set out for me in any way. I feel like a mark of maturity is being able to show that your morals are substantial and don't affect others in a negative way. I don't feel like I need any specific thing to tell me how I should act. I feel like I should be the one to decide that. And even if there are guidelines you can act by that change constantly, I would still just rather say I did the thing because I want to, not I did the thing because the book told me, or this rock told me, or Atua told me. Anything like that. But that's really about it. I really don't have any reason for it. It's just like, I don't know. I could spend time in worship, or I could spend time doing something. I'd rather spend some time doing something. The last question, although I think you deleted it, but I'm going to answer it anyways. I don't know who this was. I think they deleted it maybe on accident. It's very hard to tell because they just left a typo now. But what the question said before was along the lines of, like, you said you have a hard time editing videos because of your hearing. Does that mean you are considered deaf? I am not deaf. I actually have very, very good hearing. But for those of you who don't know, I have tinnitus, and if you don't know what that is, it's that ringing you hear whenever, I guess, best way to describe it, flashbang goes off in a video game, or you turn on an old CRTV and you hear this high-pitched squealing sound. Basically, I hear that all the time, and I don't even know what silence is like anymore. People that have this usually get it because of hearing damage. I'm very unfortunate, and I haven't damaged my hearing. I've taken very good care of it, but a lot of people just get it for absolutely no reason, and I am one of them. And it can make editing videos really hard, because what I basically have to do, especially since it's been so bad recently, at least this ringing, is I've had to just pay attention to the decibels and kind of guess. But sometimes, like, the decibels practically lie to you, and I don't know what I mean by that. I mean, like, you'll put on music and it'll be the same decibel as the character talking, but it will completely overpower them. So you really have to go by ear, and I try to do the best I can with videos. It can be difficult at times, but the best way to get through it is just to never be in silence, because if you're in silence, it will drive you mad. And luck to anyone else who has tinnitus, because it really requires some fortitude and some discipline not to just go nuts sometimes. Okay, I had to re-record this video in a different program, so I might sound a little different. But anyways, I did forget about a question from Mike Zephiel on Twitter, who forgot to ask me on Patreon. It's fine, dude. Don't freak out. You're not delaying the video in any way. But he basically asks, "Hey Xeno, I saw you made that goal list or milestone list for 2017. What about your goals for 2018 or your New Year's resolution?" So for those of you who didn't know, at the beginning of 2017, I was an ambitious little one, and I was all bright-eyed and shiny and freshly polished to the world of YouTube. And I was like, I'm gonna make it. If I try my hardest and be the funniest, I'm gonna make it on YouTube. And a lot of people are gonna watch my videos. And hey, it worked. A lot of people do watch my videos, and thank you if you do. But the goalposts I set out on that list originally were ridiculous. There's no way I was getting to 10,000 subscribers at the end of this year, no matter how much I wanted it, especially since I'm the type of channel that's only had that huge spike in views one time, and that was for Path of Radiance, since I haven't had that again. So my goals for 2018? As I said, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, deep in the back of my heart, my heavy, heavy heart in my head, I do wish to do YouTube full-time eventually. I think that would be wonderful, and I think that's something that most YouTubers strive towards, and there's nothing wrong with that, and you should feel no shame for it whatsoever. People really try to shame people for wanting something like that, and I think that's ridiculous. Do whatever the hell you want. It's probably not going to happen this year, maybe not the next, maybe not ever, but I'm just going to try to keep making quality videos. I'm going to test out, like, hey, what games work on the channel, what games don't, because I do consider that, even if it seems like my choices are random. Like, Berseria was something I picked because people like Radiant Dawn and Ace Attorney and Gravity Rush so much, and it seemed to be right in the vein, and hey, what do you know? Berseria is the most successful series I've ever done, next to Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, so that was super unexpected, and I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I hope when I eventually get to Zystria, it's not going to be anytime soon, trust me, but when I get to it, I'm going to hope that you guys are happy with that, because Zystria seems like another fun adventure, even if it hasn't been given the best reviews. In 2018, specifically, I guess I'll name a few things I want to do. I think I'm going to try and stream a little more. I always try streams and ended in failure, except for this recent Warriors one. Audio-wise, ended in failure, but it was the most fun I've ever had, so I'm going to stream a bit more, not too much. I do want to get through another Ace Attorney game at least, so that way people aren't disappointed with that, because I know I have a lot of people who are looking towards Ace Attorney. And lastly, on YouTube, I don't know, I just want to reach more people. I just want to make more people happy, because, like, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, really. There's something about seeing comments on my videos of people saying that they laughed or found something funny, or people informing me on something. It's just so rewarding. It's so much more rewarding than, well, really almost anything I've ever done, even if those accomplishments are in scale much greater than YouTube. It's the fact that I get feedback and either gratification or utter disappointment instantly. It's fun. I just love it. Anyways, that's it. There weren't any more questions at all. So if you, first of all, thank you all of you Patreon supporters. It does help a lot. And secondly, if you have any other ideas that you think would be like a cool Patreon thing to do for people who are subscribed on Patreon, because at the moment I really don't have anything to offer, but people still did it anyway, so thanks. But if you have any cool ideas, I know there's going to be an idea that a lot of you are going to be into at the 5K subscriber mark that I've always said I was going to do. And I think a lot of you guys are going to be happy when you see that. So that's going to be in the future. Aside from that, thank you guys for watching, and have a wonderful day. Raiden out.